Hello, friends. How are you all? I hope you are doing great and taking care of yourself. If you are new to this YouTube channel, I do share my learning experience on DevOps tools like Terraform, Ansible, Git. Also, I have created the shell scripting tutorial where I have covered all the basic commands and uh, small project on cafe menu. Also, I do share my passing experience on the cloud certifications like AWS, Azure, Google. So do go and watch those playlists. And if you feel it has added a value to your current skill set, then do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's get back to our journey of learning SQL. And this week is the third week where we will be talking about, as you see on the screen, is SQL command types. So without much further delay, let's get into action. So friends, let's talk about SQL command types. So there are around 5 different SQL command types and we are going to learn one by one in today's video. So the first one is DQL. So what is DQL used for? The DQL is used to retrieve the data from databases using queries. Don't worry, I'm going to talk about each and every command in aligned to these types. So let's first understand theoretically the definition of these, and then in next few minutes we will be talking about different commands associated with this type. So let's take a classic example of a library where you have different racks, where on those racks there are different books, technology books, friction books, non-friction books, documentary, kids books, etc. So now you go to librarian and ask, where can I find the VB.NET book by XYZ author, and he directs you to the technology rack where it has all the books. So now once you reach to that technology rack, you start searching that book, and that's where you basically use the data query language to retrieve the data from the database, which is nothing but searching and fetching that book from the technology rack. What is now data definition language? Defines and manages database objects like tables and index. So let's go back again to our classic example. Now you have a library, but you have a different books which you need to organize in a structured way, and for that you have built different racks which will hold those books: technology book, friction, non-friction, documentary, kids, etc. So those racks are nothing but the tables which store the data in it. What is now data manipulation language? Manipulates data within database objects. So let's go back again to our classic example that you go to the librarian and you say, I need VB.NET book by XYZ author. You have gone to technology rack and fetch that book and have come back to librarian saying that kindly issue this book to me. So what the librarian does is it updates its record saying that X person has taken this book on this date, and now out of those, say there were 10 books on VB.NET, but one is now less. So he's updating the records for in his or in the database of the library, right? What is data control language? Controls access and permission to database uh, data. So now you went to a librarian, but now if you don't have the membership of the librarian can't issue the book to you. So that's the membership is nothing but a way to control the access to the database. So membership is nothing but the way to access the books in the library. What is transaction control language? Manages the transactions and ensuring the data integrity. So now this is nothing but, remember, in the first thing we took the uh, we have took the book librarian has issued. So it wants to now make sure that whatever it has issued is committed in the database of the library, and the data is consistent across whoever access that library, whether it's online, whether it's you go to the library and start looking in the computer for that book. So the data across the online or the physical availability at the library is consistent. I hope you got an idea what I'm talking about. But without much further delay, let's talk about the commands associated with these types. So hold on your seats and we will be back in a minute. So friends, back with the commands associated with each of the types. So now let's talk about TQL, which I mentioned is used to retrieve the data from the database. So in this case, we are going to use select to retrieve the data from the database. Don't worry, we are going to touch base all these commands in the next week tutorial. But for now, just remember select command is used to retrieve the data from the databases. What is TDL? As we talk about, it is used to basically build a structure of the database. So in this, you are going to use create table, create indexes. You're going to basically use drop indexes, drop tables, and there is an alter command. So alter command is basically, tomorrow you have built a structure of the technology rack where it has a small structure for .NET books, Unix programming, Linux programming, and now you want to add another small section of books on Python programming with by different authors. So that's where you will now go and alter the structure by adding small portion or in the rack which has the Python programming language books, right? So going back to the third one is DML, which is data manipulation language. Remember, we talk about once you fetch the book from the technology rack, you go to the librarian and asks him or her to issue that book against your name. So that's where he will go and update the record. If similarly, if say there is a new book on ASP.NET which has arrived in the library, now librarian would go and update the record of library database, that saying now I have an book on ASP.NET by this XYZ author and it is on the technology rack. Delete, say there is a book of an author which is now completely toned out, and the librarian wants to basically remove that from the technology rack. So that's where he will go and delete that book from the records of library database. DCL. Remember, we talk about the control to the library books. You need to have the membership, and that's where you will use grant command. You can use a revoke command. Revoke command is, say for an example, you have purchased a membership of 1 year. After 1 year you don't plan to renew that membership of the library. That's where librarian will go ahead and revoke your membership, so that going forward you will not have access to the library to get those books on whichever you are interested. It can be technology, friction, non-friction, etc. Let's talk about TCL, which is transaction control language. Let's go back to the same example. You took the book on vb.net by xyz author and you went to the librarian, and now librarian has updated the records. So after it update the record, you want to make sure that it commits across. So tomorrow, if another person wants a vb.net book by the author which you have took, and it's not available in the library, and he wants to check whether that book is there or not by accessing the library portal, or he can walk into the library and access, see if the book is available or not by accessing the computers, etc. So that's where you want to make sure that once you have issued, the data is consistent across, whether it's physical on or you're accessing the library online. And that's where commit, rollback and save point comes into the picture. I hope by now you got an idea what is dql, ddl, dml, dcl, tcl, etc. Don't worry, we are going to walk through each and every command with the examples to get an idea as and what way to use those commands. If you find this video has been helpful to get an idea about different SQL command types, then do not forget it to share with your friends and hit the like button, and let me know the comments in the video session as how did you like this video and how I can improvise my upcoming videos related to an SQL journey of our learning. So until then, take care. Bye bye.